The bottom half manages up, while the top half manages down. Part 5. The content for this podcast comes from my book, Advanced Success Secrets. You can get a free copy of each of my books, 8 bestsellers, at alexhammerbooks.com. That's AlexHammerbooks.com. Part 5 obviously picks up where Part 4 left off. But what are some of the goals of this managing down? One aspect is socialization or implementation of societal norms, diverse as those are and may be. While hopefully not quashing all individuality by any means, teachers teach pupils how to conform in an academic setting. If schools are preparation for jobs, more so than for life, if schools were preparation for life, wouldn't they teach parenting, financial skills, and life skills as much as they do chemistry and biology? The one significant aspect of this is learning conformity. Schools have a task and time structure, just like jobs. Do you have a choice about doing your homework and doing it well? Well, you have about the same amount of choice as you do in doing your work on the job and doing it well. If you don't do your homework over time, you will fail. And if you don't do your work over time, you will be fired. And the comparisons only start there. Until a certain age, you may have to raise your hand in class before you can go to the bathroom. I've been out of school for many years, so I'm not sure how things may or may not have changed. And if you were home for a day sick, you need a parent's or doctor's note. If you plan to miss a day of work, you need to put in a request first, or if you're suddenly ill, you need to call in to let them know. A lot of jobs you need to call in if you're going to be late. Otherwise, you could face disciplinary action. While in many jobs you may not have to raise your hand to go to the bathroom, being an adult does have some advantages after all. Depending upon the type of job, there are many things that you may need to ask your boss or company for permission to do. We accept going to school because we accept being part of society and being part of the job market. Some individuals are entrepreneurs and may have some greater degree of occupational autonomy and decision-making day to day. But, interestingly, successful entrepreneurs were not always the best students in school by any means as a whole. And often they have not pursued the most advanced degrees. There's a famous saying you may have heard of that A students often wind up working for C students. A students being the more academically involved and C students being the more entrepreneurial involved. Not that you can't be an entrepreneur and an A student at the same time. Okay. Of course, for example, lawyers, doctors, and academics are much more learned in terms of formal education than most entrepreneurs. Of course, learning doesn't end when we get out of school as well. It's discussed in the Laws and Secrets of Success. Power can either be used or abused. We need lawyers, we need police, we need teachers. But each of these professions, as well as all others, can be used in providing a legitimate or even noble service, or can be misused for attempted personal power, benefit, or gain. I suspect that some roles in society are high-power positions and thus perhaps more likely to attract those drawn to power, for either good or ill. Of course, the maturity and character of the individual in the role will go a long way in mediating how such power by the individual may be or may attempted to be used. One line of thinking is that, quote, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, end of quote. I believe rather that power, like money, more so accentuates who you already are. Greedy people with money have more capacity to attempt to be more greedy. Generous people with money have more capacity to work to be more generous. Although there is a tendency to demonize rich people, as discussed earlier, and there may also be that certain personality characteristics, both desirable and undesirable, may drive a person towards the attainment of great wealth. We all have an accountability in life, and if we cannot handle well the power or money at a certain level, then we are likely to lose it. There is a famous saying that when a person with money meets a person with experience, the person with experience gets the money, and the person with money gets the experience. I don't think that we live in a completely predatory society, but I do believe that we live in a highly competitive one, and those with significant power and money need the self-regulatory character traits such as discipline to be successful with their money and their power, or else it will flow away from them. They say that the first rule of money is that it moves to where it is well treated. People who think that making money is a sin, for example, are not likely to make or accumulate much of it. Those who do not respect money by overindulging themselves are not likely to accumulate large sums of money. End of part 5.